So I'm going to teach you how to make nut milk today, or as I like to say, nut juice. It's not the typical term that you use for making, nut liquid, but the fascination with people in the United States and white liquid, we have to call it milk. But technically, it's nut juice. That just doesn't sound appealing. Almond nut juice. Okay, so first off, you soak them. And there they are soaked. And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the outside husks off. So you don't necessarily have to do this, but it definitely aids in its sweetness. And it's really easy, especially once it's soaked. So here, I'll show you what I'm doing. So basically take it, and you just kind of pinch and twist with your fingers, and they just pop right out. Because this is where all the tannins are, is in the skins, and that's what we're doing, is removing the skins. So that aids in the production of nut juice. As you take the nut, put it in your fingers, and boop, there you go. One step closer to nut juice. Okay, now we're going to go over to the blender, and you've been using a food processor. The difference between the food processor and the blender is a couple thousand RPMs. So we're going to get a much smoother process putting it through the blender. So we're getting ready to make the almond nut juice. There you go. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about just that about much water to start out with. Because what we need the blades to be able to catch it. If we put too much liquid into it, it bounces around and it gets really grainy really quick. So we need to make the paste first. Once we make the paste, we can dilute it down into the consistency that we want it to be. Okay, so here we are getting ready to make the nut juice. There you go. That's the amount of water we're talking about. And we start it off really low. And we go low and slow. So here you go. Now, as you can probably hear, I'm slowly turning the speed of the blend tech, or the Vitamix, whatever this apparatus is. I'm slowly moving it faster and faster and faster. So you notice there it's kind of bouncing around and stuff like that because it's starting to dry out, because it's starting to absorb all of that water. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go get some water and slowly just add probably less than a quarter cup, probably around 3 tablespoons, just so I can start making that paste finer. So there you have it, nut juice. Just a little bit of extra water to it, and that's it. And we're going to start off slow again and move it back up. Now I'll tell you this, the reason why it looked kind of chunky there is because I put a little bit of too much water in, and it didn't allow those little bits and kernels to get in there and get contact with that blade in order to get knocked down. So it's going to be a little bit chunky. So now I'm going to blast it just for a little bit, and the one thing you'll notice is you'll start seeing it'll raise in temperature. And when you get into the whole idea of raw cooking versus, you know, cooking with other means, you know, you want to keep everything below 114 degrees. So that's just something you need to keep an eye on. So here we go. I'm going to walk through the process and see if I can save the lines. So it's on low. And turn it up to high. Then we're going to hit turbo. And there you have it. That's how you make your nut milk. Looks like someone's calling us. I have no idea who it is. I'll talk to you later. Bye. So here we go, pouring the juice. That's how thick it is. So basically from that, we can just add a little bit of water and turn it into cream, add a little bit more water. We got, you know, whole nut juice. All right, so I hope this helps. So all I did was I took a tiny little bit of water and added it to the bowl that I used to make the nut juice or the nut butter in. And so just adding a little bit just to rinse it out, added it back too. And so here's your finished product. So there you go.